Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
First down and 10 at their own 10-yard line. Tevin Coleman with some running room. Tevin Coleman down the sideline. Coleman, one man to beat. Tevin Coleman's going to go 90 yards, and Indiana takes the lead. Randall L. scrambles, started off the pitch, keeps it himself down the sidelines. He could go. Antoine Randall L. touchdown. Rory going to the single coverage, end zone. Touchdown! He hits Cooper again.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back. You guys thought we took another vacation or something? Nope, just Brandon. Doing I don't know, it must be a thing with like kids and pregnant wife and stuff like that, where he's doing his birthday party on 4 days before his actual birthday and on a Thursday. So, or maybe he still thinks he's like 24, which he does sometimes when he's drinking. So very, very possible any of those scenarios. So we're just here. I'm here joined. I'm pointing it this way, which is where it looks like on my computer screen, but it's actually this way with producer Seth. Oh, I'm below him on his screen. I don't know. Either way, he's over there. He's here. He's full of energy. He's doing some scrapbooking or something in the background. I'm not sure what he was doing as we were getting ready to start. All I heard was a bunch of like ripping paper or something.
Those were my notes. Those were my notes from tonight's show that I was ripping up. Yeah.
Awesome.
No, you said below me. I stayed up last night watching the Purdue game. All right, man. I'm tired. I didn't get enough sleep last night. These West Coast games are a nightmare.
Yeah, what time did that game start? Like 10?
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, not like I watch our basketball team, but I don't think there's anything else going on Saturday. So I think we play, or no, it's tomorrow.
No, you're Friday night. Yeah.
8. We played 8, and that's probably too long. Too late for me. I don't know. We'll see. It's Ohio State. Not like I'm going to watch it anyway. Let's be honest with you. It's just a load of trash. Speaking of a load of trash, welcome everybody to the first annual. What movie is that from? That's from Dumb and Dumber, right? When he's trying to read. Annual. Yes, it's from when he's just trying to read the newspaper. First annual Golden Pint Awards. It's a name I came up with in about 30 seconds. It's a play off of our names. Based on our names.
Oh my God.
Little Nick Kroll show reference there. We're going to get there in a minute. So today's
publicity.
Publicity. Yes, there it is. It's been what a callback to Friday. Our Friday. So it's an award show. We're going to do an award show, but it's not today. Today is part 1. Today is where we're going to tell you our nominees, and then we're going to let you guys vote. Hopefully you guys participate. We'll get into it. But first, we've got some team updates, some fun stuff, and then some like kind of scary stuff we'll talk about and see what everybody thinks. We did get another transfer, from what I could tell, pretty good, probably transfer. Safety from North Carolina State. His name's Devin Boykin, 5'10", 195 pounds. He was injured all of last year, Seth. Injured in the practice for the 2023 Pop-Tart Bowl, which is an elite bowl. Don't you scoff at that. That is the number 1 ACC. And who is the other team? Who did Miami play this year and lose to? Big 12? ACC Big 12, I think, is they played Iowa State. It's like the top tier ACC bowl. And then, but what he did play in 2023 that season, 54 tackles, a forced fumble, 3 interceptions coming against North Carolina, Miami, and Clemson. So not like he's picking off like little schools and stuff in his stats going into the conference games, but made some pretty good picks. Watched a highlight tape of him. I don't know if you looked at anything on him. Pretty good impact player, I would think, walking right in and probably starting or at least fighting for a starting safety position.
Yeah, I have him as a depth guy. I'm not a huge fan of his size. I'd like, closer to 6 foot, but that's fine. I did look at his interceptions. They were against, who was it? Drake May. I'm forgetting the cat from, huh?
Klubnik. Is that what his name is, from Clemson?
Clemson, correct.
And the transfer from Wisconsin
was Van Dyke.
Van Dyke, yes. Van Dyke.
Where the picks were on. So not shabby players by any stretch of the imagination. Drake May being a first round pick, obviously.
Could be a good one. Drake.
Yeah,
could be a decent player.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be too bad. So the thing I like about him is he does have 4 turnovers caused, with the 1 forced fumble and the 3 interceptions. And forced fumbles are usually pretty rare out of a DB. So he's either a hitter or he's a peanut puncher. And either way, it's a valuable piece to add to the secondary.
Of course. We're going to move through this new stuff here pretty quickly, but here's an interesting thing. Tom Allen, not that we're at the LEO podcast anymore, but Tom Allen moving from Penn State to Clemson. We don't need to talk about why. I don't know if that's come out, why he's doing that, other than maybe his connection with Dabo. But it seems like a lateral move, if not maybe a step down, to go to Clemson and be a DC. Here's the tie-in for us, because it's kind of weird attached to this move, apparently, because the Nittany Lions are sniffing around Bryant Haynes, which is our defensive coordinator, for the people listening that may not know that. And then Coach Cignetti tweeted out something this morning, Thursday morning, that was his postseason top 5 list. And I'll go in order. Number 1, national champion. Number 2, runner-up. Number 3, Oregon. And then 4 and 5 are a combination of Indiana/Penn State and Penn State/Indiana. Do you think he's got double Penn State on there because they're taking Bryant Haynes?
No, that's the rankings for the top 5 teams at the end of the season, how he would rank them, dummy. Wait, are we this dumb? Is this the thing?
No, it's just me trying to start some crap.
Oh my God. I was like, how? Okay, sorry. I'm not getting this joke. I was like, no, he's saying that IU is the 4th or the 5th best team in the country at the end of the year, depending on where he would rank Penn State. Obviously, I think you'd have to give Penn State just a slight nod because they got to the Elite 8, but or to the Final 4. Shit. But yeah, no, that's what they're talking about. Yeah, that's all that is. That's nothing. Come on, stir the shit pot elsewhere. Come on, I'm not falling for that. I was confused, but I wasn't dumb.
I tried, but yeah, Oregon is the one thing I don't agree with this. I don't think
that's a regular season award. Yeah, I mean they were the best regular season team, but they didn't have.
They were exposed.
Yeah,
were. All right,
let's get into this.
Introducing the first annual Golden Pint Awards. Insert whatever music I can do. I don't have time for this. I don't think during editing and stuff to put it on there, but you guys do your own music or listen to Seth. So here's what we're gonna do. Thank God Brandon's not here. No offense to Brandon, but this would be a 3-hour podcast if he was here, because we'd have to go back and forth and back and forth. I've asked myself and Seth to list 3 nominees for a few categories. We've got categories based around games, and we've got categories based around player and coaches. Okay. We're going to take probably the best or highest combination of these, if we have the same ones, put them onto a master list, tweet out these master list awards. You guys vote on them. We'll announce the winners next week, probably. So let's get started. These are all original, by the way. I knocked these out in about 5 minutes. All right, here we go. This was one of my favorite ones, I think, and it was a tough one, because I did not attend a game that we've talked about multiple times that I think would have been in this top 3. But best atmosphere, Seth, who are your nominees for best atmosphere of an IU game this season, for probably a home game? But
I went to 2 games. I went to the FIU game and the Purdue game. And the Purdue game had some problems. But that was the definite of those 2 was the better environment for me. So you got to include the bucket game, the Winter Wonderland Snow Globe day or Saturday after Thanksgiving destruction. of Purdue.
So Purdue's your number one. Gotcha. I had, I'm just going to write your name. I'm just going to write your name next to your number one. And that's because if it's on my list, that's what I'm going to do. I had Washington because we had the double, who did we had Washington. So we had game day and big noon there at the same, not big noon. It was a BTN game. So I think BTN tailgate was there and game day was there. It was the second consecutive sellout game after the Nebraska game, which is the one I was going to say that probably is number one. And then I had Purdue number two. I had Michigan number three. I wonder if maybe the way that game ended may have affected my ranking of that Michigan nomination, but I've got Washington, Purdue, Michigan. It sounds like you've got about the same. Brandon went through and actually highlighted some that he would have picked. He picked Michigan. So it's interesting that we'll have those on there.
Yeah, I think the fourth one would have been Nebraska. I think if we're,
that's the one
because Twitter allows us to have, 4 entries for a poll. So if we go 4 deep on this, I think Nebraska is the one to add.
I think we should put that one in there just because I didn't go. Brandon did. And I feel like we should probably let the people have Nebraska. So next, best offensive play of the season.
All right, there were a couple in this that you did that were tough, and this is one, and I'll explain each of these why they were tough when they come up. But this one was tough because there were not a ton of oh my god plays offensively. There really weren't. The IU offense was a systematic offense that typically wore teams down, and it wasn't this, oh, here's a 95-yard hook and lateral or some random, kind of gadget awesome play that tends to attract all the eyeballs. There was no Hail Mary. There was no game winner. So for me, I was really trying to focus on what were the game-changing moments, so to speak. So the first one that came to mind was Rourke's touchdown throw to Surratt to make it 13-3 against Michigan. The reason I had that one circled was because that was the point where it was 7-3 going into that. Michigan was hanging tough. Of course, the whole game they ended up hanging tough, but that was the time where you got a gap and you're like, okay, all right, we've kind of got something figured out here. And eventually they went up and then just kind of sat on it, to ice the game away. But that 11-point swing there, or that 11-point gap they created, really gave them the breathing room and the confidence to know that that was a game that they were in and they could win. And then if we want to talk about the crowd and the atmosphere, obviously they really helped down the stretch. So I thought that was a really important play that late in the season could have gone a lot of different ways. And that was the play that gave them momentum to get that big lead.
That was my number one too. That was my number one. The Rourke to Surratt 36-yard touchdown, put it up 14-3. To be honest with you, I mean that was it. I mean that was
there was
one other.
There was one other Surratt one too, and
sorry, I meant in that game. Sorry,
I was going to say that went against what I said because I said there was no huge explosive plays, but he had the 84-yarder against the 84-yarder. At least
which was on honorable
mention if it's not a candidate.
It's on here. I've got it on there. Brandon selected it as his favorite. There's another big play, not a massive yards play, but one that sealed the game. Put it away. Said, "We're here now." Made it official.
I know where you're going.
We're here.
Yep.
And it's the Justice Ellison 31-yard touchdown right before halftime against Nebraska to put us up 28-7 going into halftime. And that was a good one. I think that's a good second nominee. There's a couple other ones. I mean, there was a big throw to Omar Cooper from Jackson against Washington. I think it was a 41-yard touchdown I had written in and kind of taken that one out. That was a good one. I don't think it's good enough to put 4 nominees on here.
Yeah, I had a cheat that was like the final first down they got against Michigan that closed it out. Like there was a 4-yard run with a minute and 3 seconds to go or something.
Rourke. Yeah, Rourke pulling down.
It was just enough to get
option.
a first down, and boom, game was over. You knew right.
I think if we had Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I think if we had a clutch play of the year, that might have been it. Like that might have won it. Like that was he hasn't done any running all game. And finally, when you needed 6 yards or 4 yards, whatever it was, he keeps it and he runs with nobody in front of him and just slides down. And then that was it. It was knee taking time.
Yep.
So here's one where you got a lot to pick from.
Yes.
All right. Best defensive play.
Now, again, there were some run fills from Aiden Fisher that I could have singled out and just said, holy shit, how he filled that hole was amazing. And I loved that. And the slobber knocker and the defensive player in me was like, that's it. That's amazing. That's exactly what I want to see. Vince McMahon kind of going crazy. But for me, the first play that rang a bell, and it was Kamara at UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
It was the fumble recovery that set up the 14-0, I think, at that point. That was the first Big Ten game. It was the first road game. It was cross country. And this is when, you kind of had the feeling that the defense was pretty good. And there was a couple of players who were going to be real studs. And again, I think even after the season's over, we don't know how good UCLA really was. But at least at that point, we're like, if these guys are even remotely real, IU's got some ballers, and Kamara just immediately jumped to the forefront, was like, hot damn, this is a guy who can play, and he can play in the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's not the one I had number one. It was actually number two for me. That was a huge play. I mean, I could tell you where I was. I was in my basement. Brandon was there. I think you were there, or his buddy Briggs was there. Just an incredible. I mean, just a play that was like, this was massive, a massive play to have on the road. First cross country Big Ten team, I believe, from east to west at least, to go out there and play. You're playing in the Rose Bowl. You don't really know what this team is about yet, and you found out pretty quick. My other two, my number one nominee was the D'Angelo Pons pick six against Washington to make it 7-0 in the first quarter when they were driving. And I remember turning to my wife and saying, we haven't trailed all year, but we're at least about to be down 3-0. And then literally that very next play, he picks sixes it, takes it to the house. That's electric. That's one I could go back and listen to the radio call, or I could listen to the TV call, which I think is better because you could go back and watch the TV call. And that, I've talked about this before, that cameraman needs the biggest raise possible that BTN has, because the way that he did that, when he pans out as Pons is getting to about the 15-yard line, and you can see all of the towels going and the crowd going nuts, and he gets like a full stadium view. Oh, just talking about it right now, I'm getting goosebumps. And I was at that game too, which was great. And then the next one, a game I wasn't at, I think one that was a huge game and one that was like, okay, this ball game is done now. Nebraska driving real deep into our territory about midway through the third quarter. And Sean Asbury picks off Ravioli for a 78-yard return down the sideline. That was just, the crowd was going bonkers. And just a shoestring tackle away from taking it to the house. So I think those are three pretty good solid nominees. Again, you could go a bunch of different ways. You could go the two interceptions that really flipped the Michigan State game from Farrell. I mean, as you said, any Jalen Walker or Aiden Fisher play could be in there. I mean, the Jalen Walker tip interception, I think, that turned into 0 points, unfortunately, against against Purdue. I think we ended up missing that field goal, but the tip interception that really meant nothing, but great pick. You could add that one too.
Yeah, I had the Asbury pick as another one that was dog-eared, like you said, because that was the one where Raiola was still expected to be a real pride of the Big Ten quarterback, and that was really like the bloom was off the lily. After that game, IU was the giant killer. This guy's the number one quarterback prospect. He's supposed to be all these things. What is it? Patrick Mahomes Jr. And then all of a sudden, it's IU, the newcomer on the block, is the one that's kind of dethroning this guy who's supposed to take over the cradle of the Big Ten quarterbacks. So that's what I really liked. It was one of those things that it didn't just have the impact of the play itself, but the kind of the domino effect it had of really opening up people's eyes to thinking of just how average of a quarterback Dylan Raiola was, really seemed to sway kind of that narrative.
Yeah, he went 28 of 44 for 234 yards with a 5-yard average, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Better numbers than I would have guessed.
Yeah,
it was a bad outing.
Well, I mean, this would shock you too. But if you go look at the other, well, no, not really, because I guess he came out a little bit after halftime. O'Rourke was only 17 of 21 for 189, a pick and an interception. The interception being, I think, a last-second heave at halftime or whatever. But yeah, no, he was not good, not good. This is an interesting one here too.
All right, I'll take my lump here. Come on, let's do this.
Go ahead. Best game. You want me to go first?
No, I got this. So I had mentioned that UCLA was kind of the arrival game. It wasn't really. There was a different game. It's the arrival game. We've talked a lot about that. But I'll take my lumps here. It's got to be Purdue 66-0. Purdue was 1-11. It was our worst season, and we can replay all that all over again. But they made a point. They wanted to beat Purdue, and they wanted to embarrass them. They wanted to beat them by more than Notre Dame beat them by, and they effectively did that. The shutout was just absolute insult to injury, leaving in the starters as long as they did midway through the fourth quarter. All of that stuff was, purposeful. It was message driven. It was intentional. And that's where you got to be at IU this year. You were the badass bullies on the block who were scaring people just by showing up. Can you imagine the flip switch that was from last year's goddamn mess to this? And the Purdue was the emblematic, iconic moment of just what Coach Signetti built over the first 12 weeks of the season. And that was beating your rival, who had been whooping up on you pretty good, 66-0. Didn't even sniff a damn point.
I think that this kind of started if it hadn't already started in the Google me, I win Google me part. I don't think that was more of a local, maybe conference, centralized, maybe start of the hatred of Coach Signetti outside of our program, or maybe the jealousy or the kind of, I call it kind of the Ron Artest factor, or like the Matthew Tkachuk, right? So when you think of, if we got any hockey fans listening, chances are when I say that word, you hate that guy, but I love him. I have his jersey because he plays for my team, right? He's cocky. He goes around, he does whatever he does, but he's a winner and he wins and he does it. And this was a perfect example of that. Is you guys are going to come in here. We're going to go up. We're going to keep our starters in until I know that you guys are no longer breathing. And then I'm going to put in my backup quarterback, who's a Tennessee transfer, 4-star stud. And he's going to go out there and still score another 21 points or 14 points right after that with half a quarter to play with. And it just never took the gas or the foot off the gas pedal. And then, as we continued through the postseason pregame stuff, he didn't help himself in the national light necessarily. But I love him. Can't wait for many more seasons. I had the arrival game as my number one pick, and that was the Nebraska 56-7. For me personally, this was a game I didn't get to attend, as I've said 17,000 times in the last 10 minutes. But it was a make or break this vacation I was on my way to go do for a few days out in Vegas. If we would have lost that game, it would have been a very sad trip out. Meanwhile, we win by 7 touchdowns, and your boy was elated, higher than the plane could fly. Not in that way, just emotionally. But yeah, incredible. The second one, I had a sneaky one. Game 2, I had at Michigan State 41-10 because of the 41 unanswered points and the doubt that we all had after the end of the first quarter. I guess it wasn't after the end of the first quarter, but towards the end of the first quarter, before we scored, it did not look good. It looked very Tom Allen-esque for a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think there was another, again, this is one that was tough for me because there weren't a lot of close games. So the closest game scoreboard wise was Michigan. And that wasn't really an
Michigan.
interesting
Yeah.
game by any stretch of the imagination. So the sneaky one that I threw in here was Maryland, because that was a game you
Oh,
lose
yeah.
year after
Mhm.
year. They've been the bane of your existence. They've been a difference between bowl games and not bowl games. It feels like it's a 5-7, 6-6. A lot of times, not a lot of times,
Mhm.
but a couple times it feels like it's come down to that being one of those 50-50 games that always goes Maryland's way. And this year, there was a struggle early on. It wasn't a super blowout. It was a close game through a while. And then IU figured it out. They made the adjustments. They turned it on. And that's when it showed that this coaching staff was a hell of a lot different than the previous coaching staff that had zero ideas how to make any kind of in-game adjustments. It was either you're a
Mhm.
better team or you weren't at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. This was a team where you could struggle for the first quarter or two and then figure things out. And that's what it showed to me in that Maryland game was, it's not just about the players. The UCLA game was like, oh, some of these players are pretty good. In the Maryland game, it was like, damn, some of these coaches know what the hell they're doing. And IU has never had that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. That was a game that was tense. I think we kind of held them at arm's length for a little bit, and then they brought it real close. I think they may have tied it up third quarter or towards halftime, and then we kind of pushed them back off of us again. So yeah, that's a good shout. That's it for the games. We'll get into player and coach awards now. We'll just keep rolling here. I don't think this will be as in depth. I think some of these are pretty cut and dry. This one's an interesting one. I'm interested to hear what you have to say here. Best coordinator or position coach?
I think there are two obvious answers, and there's a third one that's a sentimental pick. And if my notes are similar to yours, I think they go in that order. And it's the guy we talked about who Penn State wants as the D coordinator, just a fantastic job all season long. And the sentimental pick has to be Tino. I mean, the narrative that guy's created about being a quarterback guru, and then obviously, unfortunately, him leaving at the end of the season, that whole narrative is fantastic, and really put IU on the map as far as quarterback recruiting went. But the winner here, and I'll give this one away, I think is bar none, head and shoulders above everybody else, is Bob Bostad.
Look at you.
He turned. I mean, if you've listened to me all season long, you could have figured out I was going here. But the offensive line for a decade or more has been the weakness of this team. This year, it was their identity, it was their soul, it was their focus of everything was built around the offensive line, making things happen in the run game and in the pass game, allowing allowing Curtis Rourke to use his eyes and his brain to effectively and systematically dice up the defenses using the RPO. So the offensive line going from a liability to an absolute force, that's got to be Coach Bob.
Yeah, my three were, and Brandon had Bryant Haynes as number one along with me. But it was Haynes, Bob Bostad, Tino. I had Shanahan written in as number three. I do think he got a little bit too predictable, a little weird, a little funky in some of the games. I hated his play calling against Notre Dame. I hated all of it. It seemed really funny to run the ball against one of the best rushing defenses in the entire country. But yeah, I think that he's got some work to do. But a very, very, very good offensive coordinator. Nobody that we want replaced. So
if you had said this after the Purdue game, he would have been my third guy, tied with Tino.
Yeah. I think he made some weird calls. I think he made weird calls against Michigan, Seth. I think it was weird against Michigan.
I agree.
Weird against Ohio State too. You knew that.
I
think that when it came to the big games, was it Rourke? Was it Shanahan? We don't know. We'll find out. I guess
it seemed like there were a couple pucker butts in some of those tenser situations.
Yeah, I think we'll find out. We'll find out next year. And we're going to talk about a lot about Rourke in these next few categories. But I mean, God, you just can't. If it's true, which I cannot believe it wouldn't be true, to play on a torn ACL the entire season is insane. So I'll cut him a little bit of slack. All right, here we go. Best transfer. You've got a lot to pick from, so go ahead.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is the list. It's Rourke, it's Pons, it's Surratt, it's Fisher, it's Walker, CJ West, Carpenter. I mean,
Yeah. Keep
there's
going.
so many guys to choose from, and I think every one of them has a valid claim to fame. But I think who wears the crown, you know, gets the responsibility. And I think Curtis Rourke is the guy that he sets the table for everything else. He's the tone setter. He's the one who made the biggest change. He had the hardest road to overcome. I mean, everything you look at, whether it's the fingers, whether it's the knee, I mean, the guy had 1 year left and he laid it all out there for IU, and you have to respect everything about that. So there's a lot of, I forgot Kamara. Holy hell. How did I forget Kamara?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many good answers. But when in doubt, because the quarterback gets all the shit when things go bad, you got to give him the props when things go well. So Curtis Rourke, I salute you.
My number one as well. Not now. Okay. I want everybody to understand we're not handing awards out yet. These are just our 3 nominees.
First names that come to mind.
Yes. I had Curtis Rourke, and I'll go over some stats. He had over 3,000 yards throwing the ball, 3,042 to be exact, 69% completion percentage, 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 176. So, I mean, some of these stats that I'm going to read to you here in just a second from some of these players, I don't think that maybe because we were so invested in not trying to look for like silver linings in games, that they blew me out of the water. I didn't know that they performed as well as they had performed. I've got 3. Do you want me to just name the 3 off?
Yeah.
So I've got Rourke, and at number 2, I had D'Angelo Pons, which Brandon picked as his number 1. Ponzi 5. Yeah. Well, just wait. 55 tackles, 9 passes deflected, 3 interceptions, and a touchdown. And then number 3,
I can think of 3 games where he wasn't even targeted too. So that feels like that's really 10 games worth of stats.
That's what I mean. 9 passes defended. I couldn't name outside of the Washington game. No idea. Elijah Surratt, number 3, 53 receptions, 957 yards, and 8 touchdowns. I think we questioned him early on in the season as being like, is he as good as we think he is? Or like, where is he at?
He wasn't really showing up. Yeah, exactly. But he came on.
But holy cow, he's good. And I don't want to make this comparison yet. I think it's body type that I'm looking at right now. Some of the catches that he makes, he needs to be more sure-handed. But I think this was the biggest complaint about this player I'm going to compare him to, who is going to be a Hall of Famer. So please take this as me just starting this comparison. Does he remind you a little bit of Mike Evans?
The back,
a little bit of Mike Evans.
The back shoulder fade being a very common route that they both run. There is, but I mean, Mike Evans is just
he's insane.
The thing, he's not a freakish athlete. He doesn't blow you away, but he always gets open. It's just, and Elijah is a lot of that same way. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the biggest guy, but he sure gets position on people and knows how to use his body appropriately.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
So many candidates, though. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
1,000. We should add Kamara to this one. I'll make a note in here. Plus Kamara, just to see, because I think he's gonna get plenty of run here as we wrap up the awards in a little bit. This is an interesting one to see if you knew what I was talking about.
Tough.
Best leftover, and what I mean by that is best actual IU player that stayed on the roster from Tom Allen to this regime. I've got 3, and I've got 3 really good ones. And I think you probably could have pulled 4, could have at least pulled 4. And the 4th one kind of disappointed me a little bit last game that he played. But
oh goodness, I think we're on the same page then, unfortunately, because I had 3. and 2 of my 3 were the same as yours. So, and I'm realizing that my third one, your third one that we didn't cross over, I wish I had on here.
Let's say the four. Okay.
Yeah,
What was your? So you didn't have my third one. You had your third.
I
one
had a third one
my
instead.
third one?
Yeah.
Should we say it on the count of 3?
The third one?
Yeah, because I'm going to guess it because I think it's the one
who
I
you think
left
mine
off
is?
my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Carter Smith. Yeah, 100%. Okay. He was number 4 for me. He was number 2 for me. I should. Sorry, number 3 for me. God, I'm an idiot with counting. I'm looking at yours and reading off wrong. He was number 3 for me. I thought he was valuable at the left tackle. I thought he improved a lot throughout this or over last season. Thought he was a steady force at left tackle. Like you said, I think he was exposed in the Notre Dame game a little bit. They blitzed right at him. They overloaded him, and he did not hold up well against that. But he was a redshirt sophomore, so it's not like he doesn't have room to grow. He will be an anchor for the next 2 years in all likelihood at the left tackle's position. Very excited about him. And then I'll skip number 2. I'll let you do the other 2. But my number 1 was Kadick. The idea of moving him from guard to center, him being the guy who was barking out the signals all the time. He was the linchpin that really made that line cohesive. So him being a holdover or leftover, as you call him, So my first 2 names I thought of were offensive line, or my first and third names I thought of were offensive linemen. That goes with my theory about Bob Bostat and everything like that. I mean, those guys were absolutely critical to the success this year.
So that was Brandon's pick 2, and I just saw that. And I do think that you guys are severely underrating who I have as my number 1 leftover player. And I think you're going to get killed in the polls. No offense to Big Cat. We love Big Cat, friend of the show, been on the show. Love him. He's my number 2. My number 1, Amari Farrell, who I thought was fantastic. 49 tackles on the season, a sack and a half, a pass defended, 4 interceptions in that position. He was started down at the Husky. Remember, he was doing the in and out, switching with Sanguinetti. And then guess what? Once you moved him back to safety, then what happened? Then it completely changed that defense. Never. He was incredible. And I think he's an absolute stud and an NFL talent and somebody that's not going anywhere.
Just for the record, he was my number 2. I left him off so that you could talk about him. This is the one that I wish I regretted not having as kind of my 3.5.
He's going to be massive over the next, I would say next year, but he's going to get the same probably amount of targets. He needs more. He needs to eat. But it's Omar Cooper, 28 receptions, 594 yards, 7 touchdowns, just 1 touchdown behind Surratt. The dude is just a scoring machine. And I think that when you throw him the football, he doesn't drop it. I don't remember a drop of his at all. If it wasn't a contested jump ball in the end zone, he's incredible. He's incredible.
I'm refusing to get my calculator out here, but I think he's 23 yards per catch, something like that. Pretty close to, if not. He evolved into being the downfield threat for this team. Didn't have enough targets, but he was the guy who was getting the big chunk yards when they got a chance. You're going to do the math now, aren't you? You don't trust me that it's about 23. Oh boy. All right.
I'm working on it. 594. Yeah, 21 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Or 21 yards per reception. But he had the big ones. Outside of the 84-yard completely broken play by a terrible defense. He had the big ones against the actual teams. All right. Let's do one more good one. Then we'll do the biggest disappointment, and then we'll get into the big awards for the players. This one's fun. I think there's one very obvious answer. And
I think there's only one.
There's a few that you could throw in just to fill out a thing that I think will be really good. One of the guys I've talked about a ton. But this one's for best prospect, meaning best player that either redshirted this season or was a true freshman that didn't get a ton of playing time or came on late. And this guy fits the mold. and it's linebacker. And I know you have the same one. It's linebacker,
no, hold on.
Elijah Hardy, right? Is that you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that for sure. My
Okay.
question was Radicic, was he a redshirt freshman?
Yes, he did not.
Okay.
He didn't kick last year. I forgot about him, dude.
That was
Good
my
call,
second
man.
one. I had a question next to him because I was like, I couldn't remember if he was, but I thought
That could have been a best leftover as well.
Hmm.
Um,
But yeah, sorry,
and by the way,
Elijah
I don't know
Hardy,
how
you're absolutely
deep
right.
Yeah, and I don't know how deep you've gone into the new kicker that we brought in, right? Thinking that maybe they were over recruiting Nick, but this dude is a kickoff specialist, like the guy that they brought in, like he's just coming to kick off. But yeah, so Elijah Hardy, number 22, if you don't know who that is, he came in kind of later in some of the earlier games and finished it out. And then at the end of the season, or 21, sorry, at the end of the season, he's starting games. You know, if Walker was injured or if they came out in their run package. The true freshman, 22 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 2 forced fumbles in very limited time. I think he's incredible. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. Do you have anybody else? I can talk about 2 other guys that not a lot of stuff to talk about, no real stats or anything, but 2 guys that I loved seeing out on the field.
No, Hardy and Radicic were the 2 names that popped immediately into my mind. The thing I'm trying to think of right now is there was a guy who for a couple of years was like the rundown third linebacker they brought in. I think he was from Carmel or Greenwood or Center Grove, sorry. And we never expected him to play. And then all of a sudden we're like, who the hell's number 41 or 47 or whatever it was?
It's Matt. Is it Matt something?
Matt, yeah. And he has a silent letter somewhere in his last name too.
He played 2 years ago.
Right, yeah.
Matt, no, it's not it. Hold on, I'll find it. Go ahead.
Yeah, anyways, we were like, we had done the 2 deeps and we're like, this guy's not even a number on our sheet. Like, who the hell is this guy? And then we found out he was a redshirt walk-on freshman or something like that.
Yeah.
From Center Grove or Carmel. I can't remember which. And we're like, holy hell, this guy came out of nowhere. We weren't expecting anything and did pretty well. That was Elijah Hardy this year. He was not on our radar. He was not on our depth chart. We did all of this research to figure out
late signing, right?
Right. Yeah.
From the Naval Academy or something.
And all of a sudden, this guy is playing big downs in the Big Ten. And so for him to hold up, for him to impress in practice, because, those guys are not just given positions. They have to earn that through practice. That was a guy who was a hugely pleasant surprise.
Matt Holt.
Thank you.
That's what you were thinking.
But it was like HOHLT or something like that, right?
Nailed it. And he's from Center Grove.
I see. Yep. I could tell you like the guy's life story. Couldn't remember his last name though. But yeah.
Yeah, Matt Holt. I couldn't remember either. My other 2 guys were Daniel Ndukwe, the freshman defensive end, redshirt freshman, I believe, defensive end that came over from JMU. He's going to be a stud. He's going to get playing time next year. Very good. Very, very good. And then another guy that showed some flash in one huge play and didn't really see him the rest of the season. Tight end Sam West, another redshirt freshman, had a huge catch down the sidelines on I believe it was a wheel route. That would have been against probably Washington, because I was there. So it was in Washington. I don't think it was the Michigan game, but I think it was a Washington game. Huge catch. Dude looks huge and athletic, like super athletic. So excited to see what he can do. And then I added Radicic to the list. So anybody else? Did you get your names in that you needed to get in there?
Yep.
All right. Biggest disappointment. This is biggest disappointment. These are players that are either graduating or no longer on the team. So hopefully we don't hurt anybody's feelings here. I think there's one real obvious one, and it's the one Brandon took, and it's my number 1 as well. But I'm interested to hear what you have.
I only had one name written down, so that's why I was hopeful that you had 2 and 3 at least, and it sounds like you do. For me, it's disappointing if you start a season and you don't end the season. And so now he's on to, I was almost say brighter pastures. I don't know if it's brighter pastures anymore.
I don't think so.
but he's going on to a different program. Sorry, I haven't mentioned his name, Donovan McCulley. He had a ton of talent, had a ton of ability. For some reason, just never quite put it together in a full package. And now he's off to find different balls from different throwers. But I don't know. It's a confounding, odd thing. There was way too many receivers in the receiver room. I expected him to eventually rise, to the, I don't want to say the top of the group because, Surratt's still there. But I expected him to be like a 2 or a 3, and he just never quite put it together. And so that's got to be very disappointing. And unfortunately, there's a good chance that, somebody else will be able to put it together for him. And that'll be disappointing to if that ends up happening, that it didn't happen here.
He clearly wasn't a Cignetti guy, and it was from the very beginning in fall practice or spring practice. I remember Cignetti talking about that there are still some players that are here that need to kind of step it up, and then he eventually kept saying the kind of the same thing, and then he eventually just said it. He's like, "Yeah, we've talked with Donovan McCulley. He knows what he needs to do, and he'll get going." And then we saw some flashes during the season. You start seeing him out there a little bit more, and then he's kind of disappearing again, and then the transfer comes out. But at that point, we had 1,000 wide receivers anyway.
Yep.
Go ahead. I mean, you didn't do anything this season, so he was my number one. He was Brandon's number one. He's your number one. There's 2 other guys. I had JoJo Johnson. I feel like we had a lot of
interesting.
Yeah, he's in the portal. There was a lot of kind of hype from more of the Tom Allen camp than what Coach Cignetti or Bryant Haynes had really said, but he never saw the field. We never took either of the corners off the field. And if we did, we put in Jamari Sharp, who I guess could have been in the best leftovers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other guy was Josh Sanguinetti, a guy that played, but I think I personally expected him to be a starter and to never leave the field, and it didn't happen. Asbury kicked him right out, and then eventually, Asbury was out there the whole time, but Farrell ended up just taking over. 4 or 5 games into the season,
mm-hmm.
He was done. It was done. Put TJJ in, Farrell goes in, Sanguinetti doesn't really see the field the rest of the time, other than backup stuff. So those are the other 2 that I got.
Nothing against him personally, but I think it's 3 seasons in a row. He was essentially penciled in as a starter or a primary role player, and eventually got phased out of every one of those roles. Unfortunate, because he seemed like a guy who practiced really well. Kids liked him, players liked him, but for some reason, again, it just never materialized on the field.
Yeah. All right, let's do the big awards. The last 3 awards, we'll stop boring you guys. We're pushing 50 minutes, and it's going to go a little bit longer here, I think. But we talked in depth about the majority of the players we're about ready to name. So, offensive player of the year, I think that there's one really obvious one, but then you could also give a shout for maybe 1 or 2 other ones. I'm interested to hear where you're at here.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, when you're outlining who your best 3 offensive players are, and again, ignoring the line here just for the sake of this argument, it's like the old Cowboys teams. You want the best quarterback, you want the best running back, and you want the best receiver. And so ideally, those 3 guys should end up being your kind of 3 horsemen at the end of the season as being the 3 go-to players. So I think Rourke, I think Surratt, and I think I guess it would be Ellison would probably be the 3 primary candidates for this. But I think, again, when in doubt, always lean towards Rourke. You went over his stats, the 69%, the 29-5, the 176 QBR. Those are the numbers that really move people. He held onto the ball. He, I mean that in a positive way, not that he, like the Caleb Williams holding on to the ball and taking sacks version, but the, holding the ball, protecting the ball, not having turnovers, not putting the defense in a bad situation over and over again. He was just absolutely everything this program needed in order to put an 11-win season together. Well, shoot, he was only responsible for, 9.5 of them. But, he was a big part of it, and the leadership he provided, the steadiness at the helm. I think he will go down, even with his 1 year, as one of the best, most pivotal players in IU football history.
Yeah. And he's my number one. He's Brandon's number one. There's two other guys that I've got listed. Elijah Surratt in there as well. We've done his stats, almost 1,000 yards receiving. And then Justice Ellison, again, another surprising, I think, yardage total for me.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 160 carries, 848 yards. I mean, if he doesn't split carries, literally split carries with Tyson Lawton, I think that he's well over 1,000-yard rusher. 5.3 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns. Lawton ended up, I think, with 12. So you could shout either one of those two out, really. But, I mean, you did it exactly like what you said. Your number one quarterback, your number one wide receiver, your number 1A, I guess, running back are your top three nominees for your best offensive player. So, anything else you want to add there or another name? I don't think there's anybody.
No, I think we need to get to the next category because the next one is wide open.
Yeah. Good luck. And then that leaves the overall player of the year wide open as well, too. But this one's defensive player of the year. Dude, put your hand into a hat and pick a name out. So who do you got?
I thought of 6 names are at the top of my head. And they're the same ones I mentioned before, the 2 defensive tackles, defensive end, the 2 main linebackers, and the cornerback. All of them steady. It wasn't one of those things where it's like, oh, Pons was good for 4 games. Nope, he was good for 13. Kamara was good for 13 games. Fisher was good for probably 12 and a half games. Walker was good for 11 and a half games. CJ West, James Carpenter, again, about 10 and a half really solid games worth of play. So it's so hard to parse between who was the best. I think for me, the top 3 end up being Kamara, Fisher, and Walker, with Pons being a very close 4th. And when I'm trying to parse between those kinds of things, you can go over the stats, you can go over it's the game wrecking, game changing ability is where I give the slight lead to. So whereas Fisher and Walker were steady as can be, racking up tackles after tackle. Walker had a bunch of playmakers too, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. Don't get me wrong. I am not shortchanging that at all. But Kamara had 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. It just seemed like that doesn't include how many tackles for loss he had as well. He was just, I would have put him. I know Abdul Carter is one of the best players in the Big Ten history, and he's going to be a top 5 draft pick, all of these things.
Yeah.
I had him neck and neck with Kamara and Carter for defensive player of the year in the Big Ten.
Yeah. Kamara, also, if I'm not mistaken, granted, one of these Notre Dame or Ohio State players who've now played 2 more games than him, he's going to lead the country in pressures and quarterback pressures and at the end of the season. So that's another stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's insane. And the fact that he's coming back, I mean, granted, I think he was projected to be like 5th round, 6th round, maybe pick. But I think he's gonna really raise his stock next season and continue to carry this defense. I had the same 3, dude, and to the point to where I didn't even have Pons in the 3, and it's insane. I had Kamara.
That's huge.
Yeah. Kamara number 1. Brandon had Kamara number 1. You had Kamara number 1. Fisher number 2.
Yep.
Fisher was the clear leader on this team defensively. I just think Kamara made the biggest impact. Fisher had 118 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 4 passes defended. And you read Walker's stats. I thought Walker's stats were solid everywhere. 8 passes defended is insane from a linebacker. And 3 forced fumbles as well. And then you've got Pons. I mean, and then the defensive tackle guys aren't going to give you your stats, but they were
what they did. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I think Kamara defensive player of the year on this team, which then leads us to an interesting final award nominations, I guess, is player of the year. Who do you have for your 3 nominees for Player of the Year, overall Player of the Year?
So part of me wanted to be democratic and be like, now we got to give it to Fisher, right? We give the offensive to Rourke, we give the defensive to Kamara, and then we give overall Player of the Year to Fisher. No, it doesn't work like that for me. I slot it just like I slotted it in the other one. It's everything starts with Rourke and ends with Rourke. And then I have Kamara and Fisher at 2 and 3. I think the defense, obviously, being just what they did this year, being the stronger half of the ball, even though the offense wasn't, by any stretch of the imagination, the weakness. They had the strength. They were a tone setter, just like the offensive line was. The defense was an absolute revelation, an unexpected, gem. Nobody would have expected the IU defense to put up the stats they did, be ranked nationally where they were. So you have to give the defensive players some kind of love here. And so that's why I put them 2 and 3. But damn, Rourke, man, just the narrative continues to build even after the season's over. It just continues to add to what he overcame, his story. It's just, it's almost too good to believe.
Yeah, and you nailed my top 3 in order. It was Rourke, Kamara, Fisher. Again, no Pons, no Surratt, no Walker. I wanted to put Walker in there. I wanted to put Pons in there. I wanted to put Surratt in there. I wanted to put Ellison in there.
Any other year, those are your top 3. The guys you just mentioned as 4 through 6 could easily be 1, 2, 3 any other year.
You and I both picked Rourke, and Brandon went Kamara.
Wow, good for him. He's got balls.
He does. Well, dude, it's
meaty Pittsburgh balls.
I didn't have to go to the stat book every game to find a reason why we should be excited for next week, right? I had no idea Kamara had 10 sacks. No idea. I haven't seen a double-digit sack guy for us since I don't know. Maybe we've had him, but I don't remember, or nobody stood out as like an absolute stud, right? Maybe since Greg Middleton. That's the last defensive end that I can be like, that guy was an absolute baller. But yeah, dude, Rourke, I think is the right answer, but I think Kamara would be a right answer too.
I think Fisher would be a right answer. I think you'd be crazy if somebody said Fisher was the MVP and somebody goes, "You're out of your mind." No, nobody would say that. They'd be like, hot damn. He was fantastic. Yeah, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah, we're going to miss him. All right, let's take a second. We got that in under an hour, and then we'll do a quick break, and then we'll get to Seth's sack, and then we'll get out of here. So hold on. This episode is brought to you by your go-to expert in the Indiana real estate market. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in a home right here in the heart of the Hoosier country, Garrett Lawton with True Blood Real Estate is the agent that you need. He's not just a real estate agent, he's a Hoosier fan just like you. And Garrett knows Indiana inside and out, from Bloomington to Indianapolis and everywhere in between. Plus, his personalized service makes the buying and selling process smooth and stress-free. So if you're ready to make a move, give Garrett a call at 317-410-8851 or visit his website at lawton-realty.com. Okay, we're back. You guys, just do me a favor. I'm wearing a Monon Track Club shirt right now. I don't think we'll put any of these clips out today. I don't know. But that wasn't even a Monon Track Club thing. It was another venture for Garrett. Garrett's repping Monon Track Club still. He's running a realty thing. He's about ready to open a brewery. Don't tell anybody. He's lawyering. So just, get out there, buy a house. Let's see. No randos. So Seth, if you've got anything in your sack, drop.
I've got a couple of things. I have been just absolutely on fire against the spread in the NFL playoffs and the college football playoffs so far. So if any of you are interested in free money, let's take a look here at what we got.
Big spreads in the NFL, dude.
Let's do Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State is an 8-point favorite.
Notre Dame's hurt. They're hurt.
I know.
They got offensive line issues.
Right. Yeah. The tackle and the defensive tackle are both hurt.
But I want everybody to understand something.
You don't root for Ohio State. It is
No,
not
hold on.
allowed. Oh,
No, it's
you're
not.
doing math.
I need everybody to take a second. If you're listening with children, I'm going to give you 3 seconds. Mute it, turn it off, earmuffs, whatever. 3, 2, 1. Fuck Ohio State.
I think Ohio State money line. I don't like the 8 points. I would take Notre Dame if that's the case, but I still like Ohio State money line. So not a lot of money on the money line, but yeah, it doesn't feel good. Yeah.
That's a lot of it opened at 9.5, so it did go down 1.5 points
Yep.
already.
So speaking of 8 points, the Chiefs are 8-point favorites at home against the Texans. I think that's easy. The Lions are 9.5 point favorites at home against the Commanders. I think they win, but I don't think they cover.
I don't think they cover. Here's an interesting one.
Eagles 6.5 at home against the Rams.
That's a hell of a line, Seth.
I'll take the Eagles by 8.
I don't know about that. I think they get a touchdown at the end to win, if anything. I think the Rams are rolling. I think the Rams have got it, dude.
Somehow, Baltimore is a 1-point road favorite at Buffalo. Give me Buffalo money line.
Do you want to let me do something real quick? That game, let me look something up here. Buffalo. I don't know if you knew this or not.
Are you
Buffalo
doing the
weather?
Yep.
Is that Sunday?
It's the 19th.
Sunday football. Oh, wow.
That's at 6:30.
Okay, so 10-day forecast for
Orchard
Buffalo
Park.
Thursday. We're just gonna call Buffalo. Let's do Buffalo. Sunday. It's going to be cloudy with snow showers, mainly during the evening.
Hell yeah.
A low of 11 degrees with 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. You're going to see a lot of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So maybe, do you hit the under on that one? 51.5.
51.5. I do like the under. I do like that.
But those are two high-powered offenses. It's so hard. Yeah. Whoever this is, you know what's effed about this game is that this is a put your kids to bed game. You got to put the kids to bed because they should not be able to watch this game. This game is not for kids. This is for big boys. This is big boy football. It's at 6:30. I can't put my kids to bed at 6:30. They won't stay, or they just won't go to sleep and they'll just make a ton of noise. It's not going to work. This is, for me, I hate the Chiefs. So this is your Super Bowl. At least your AFC. This is who's going to win the AFC, in my opinion, barring any sort of injuries in that game. Because both of those teams, I think, could go. I mean, we were a toenail away from them, the Ravens beating the Chiefs earlier, and we know how the Bills and the Chiefs play each other in the playoffs.
Yep.
So
it should be good. Regardless, I think
one, man.
I think 3 of those 4 AFC remaining teams are probably are going to be really good, regardless of who is in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, so glad the Steelers aren't
right
anymore. Broads. God, I get real confident whenever he's not here. All right, is that it?
Jim Irsay, sell the team, please. Same thing with you, Virginia McCaskey.
Just give it to your daughters or something. Can you just do that at least?
I don't know if that's any better.
It has to be better because at least they'll fire Chris Ballard. I hope you're not listening, Chris. I think you've done a decent job the first few years you were in. I think it's time to skedaddle though. All right, cool. Check out the.
Do you know who else is going to skedaddle? Here we go. It's us.
We are.
We're
There
scattered
it
at
is.
it.
Great transition. Great transition. Check out our podcast on social media at Happy Hour IUFB. We plan on throwing these out periodically, maybe even starting tomorrow. I don't know if we can do anything other than the Elon Musk led just disaster of a social media platform, formerly known as Twitter. But I think that's the only one that's really got polls. We could put it on our Instagram story and do a poll there as well. We might do both. But vote. You guys vote. You guys pick the winners. If not, well, I'm just going to pick mine. All mine are going to be the winners. So we'll do that. Well, some of them will have 4. Most of them will have 3. That's it. And we'll talk to you guys next week. We'll have Brandon on, and he'll give his opinions on stuff. And yeah, peace. Cheers.
Cheers.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.